So if you've been following the saga of we're going to renovate the stadium, right? There was kind of a bill coming due, and the stadium is coming up on 25 years old, and all these things, and so we've discussed it, and as has been brought up, as we brought up, and others, man, why in the world would you do that? When maybe you just build something newer and more modern from the ground up, and there's some breaking news via Axios Nashville and Nate Rao.
So we had to bring in our expert here, Bryan here. To
an X is a has-been and spurts water under pressure, so let's not throw that around.
We had to pull in the big guns here.
Yeah.
Rhett, Bryan, the executive producer and official grand poobah of Titans Radio. You kind of walking by earlier, like pacing back and forth, and I thought, man, is he expecting a child or something? He looks nervous.
I'm way too old to be
just a
expecting a
long
child. Lord have mercy.
Don't say that. There's a rabble rouser at my house who showed up.
No.
So Lonzo is saying, what have I missed in the Zone TV chat? Well, let's just roll with this and tell people what the breaking news is.
So per this report, per Nate Rao, and you can see this on Axios Nashville, the Tennessean reported earlier this month the price tag for renovations for the 23-year-old Nissan Stadium, $600 million. But per this report, the spokesperson for the Titans tells Axios the actual cost now is estimated to be nearly double that. Now, you have to think about this in terms of where we are in the world currently. Building materials, those things, doesn't surprise me that if you get an estimate on something and it takes a while to get it back, things change. I mean, we see what the price of lumber is. If you build a house, they say it's $30,000 or $40,000 more to build your own home because of the cost of lumber alone. So with that kind of stuff in mind, this is where this would lead you to go down this path of maybe just, okay, it's going to be more than that. Let's start from scratch and see what else is available in terms of building a new facility. And also, per this article from Nate Rao, for example, the stadium's structural frame was built with concrete, needs to be largely replaced with steel. That is a major undertaking construction-wise. The mechanical plumbing, electrical systems need to be completely replaced. The window systems throughout the building is so antiquated, it's not even being manufactured anymore.
Oh.
So you have outmoded things, change in technology. But when you're talking about, how we watch those HDTV shows where they talk about, boy, the house is going to need a lot of this, but the bones are good. Well, it's not that the bones are bad, but the bones need to be updated. Well, you're talking structural stuff I'm no construction expert at all. My grandfather was in that stuff for 40 years. And I can tell you, when you're talking about major structural change like that, that's where the price tag gets into this thing. And then, when you're talking about replacing wiring and you think about how much telephone systems and all those things have changed, you're talking about major, plumbing, glass, all that stuff's not cheap. So what do? You think about building another one? Well, that's what this is kind of saying. So it makes you wonder, do they build something with a roof on it? Because you're going north of this figure, you might as well go down that road. Because Mickey and Blaine, with Nashville being the it city, how do you get a Super Bowl? You get something with like that where the elements are not a factor at all, because you more than have enough of the room spaces hotel-wise now, because they would have been at that when the draft came here in 2019.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things in that. So you could get the draft back here. The Combine is on the move now after it's done at Indianapolis here in a couple of weeks. The Super Bowl would be on the table. Final Four in basketball. The SEC
championship.
Yeah. Anything you can think of, if you're talking about an enclosed space like that, it's all on the table.
Man, we were talking about if we need a key to get in there. Will we need a key for this?
I think it would have locks on it, unlike my childhood home.
He used to leave his door unlocked, so he didn't need a key to get in his front door.
Boy, those days are over, I'm afraid.
If you build a dome stadium now, and I'm proof of it, I'm still cold. Minnesota built a dome stadium, got a Super Bowl. You're getting the Super Bowl if you build the dome stadium.
And that's an excellent example, Mickey, because they did it right next door. They took parking area, did that, and then once they demolished the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, they made that the parking spaces or whatever. Atlanta just did that a couple of years ago with Mercedes-Benz. So, that's a thought. That's, in a space where you're occupying, and we know what property values and things are if you try to go down a different path. So maybe that's something you think about right there. But this is huge news. I mean, guys, this is nearly as big as the team announcing they're coming here. I mean, this is, this, and think about it from this point of view. You had an idea that Miss Amy Adams Strunk was invested and loves that her team is here when they announced the Nissan Stadium naming rights on the stadium that went past the 2028 lease with the city of the building itself. And it's like, okay, well, that's good. That goes to 2032, whatever it was. Well, now you're talking about this is the forever home of the Titans when you're talking about a whole new building. Think about it. Talking about a law. I mean, I may be pushing up daisies by the time that lease is done.
Well, you'd be, 25 years on this building by the time that one was built.
Yeah.
I mean, that guarantees you the next 25, certainly.
Are they still talking about the development around the stadium as well, or no?
That's something I've got to look at this article and see, and I'm sure there'll be more come out of this as this, because I'm sure Nate Rao is going to be a popular follow today after this thing right here.
Nate Rao is going to be fighting people off.
But, yeah, I would think that there would be still continued talks about develop. I think they want to make that. Like Battery Park in Atlanta next to the Brave State. Everybody makes a commons area. Robert Kraft was really one of the first to do that when he built Gillette Stadium and then had that vision of making all that stuff. There's a movie theater next to the stadium and all the, dining options, restaurants, bars, all that stuff. And I would think you'd want to do something like that. I think the biggest probably hinging point on all that is the industrial part of it right there where Steiner Lift is, where, they do the metal recycling and all those things because they know they're sitting on a gold mine. Well, that's, that may be a standoff there. We'll see about that part. But, yeah, I would think immediately around there you would want to have some options to stay and play, if you will.
Man,
I would think, too, that might be where part of the money is generated for somebody saying, yeah, I'll get in on this, but I got to put, a hotel attached to it.
Yeah.
Or I got to put this that's it.
And you hit the nail on the head, Mickey, because the money part, that's what we don't know about.
Right.
You can speculate all you want, but you know that Metro was going to be involved in this. I would imagine the Adams family would be involved in this money-wise, maybe even the league. So I would think this pie would be a carved-up pie financially and not be on all taxpayer money type stuff.
We seem to be beyond those days.
Yeah,
where it's going to be
PSL stuff sounds like it's ancient now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This feels like
vote yes.
Right.
Remember those yard signs and bumper stickers everywhere?
Yeah, we're
and then all of a sudden we started seeing
that.
Blaine Bishop come to town and Marcus Robertson, and
That's right.
And
here we go.
Is this going to be bigger than SoFi then? That was just at the the Super Bowl? You think?
No, I wouldn't, because you
so?
think that was 5.5. Talking about.
Well, I mean, just bigger doesn't mean it has to be as far as price.
But,
Not paying California
but
prices.
that tells you right there what we're talking about with what they've discovered from this remodel estimate versus what it's going to be in actual cost. Because when Stan Kroenke built that thing, it was going to be $3.5-4 billion. It ended up being $5.5 billion of his own money. With a B, as in Blaine Bishop B.
Well,
I can't count that high.
the one thing that they have
can I.
is there's some infrastructure in place that would be usable, whatever it is. Like you said, some of it's so antiquated, it's like, just rip it out. We need this. It doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Some of the plumbing, some of that stuff, the waterways, all that could be usable. And they do, at least they own what they sit on, or they lease it, or however.
Right.
So they're not having to go to L.A., a suburb of L.A., and buy X amount of acreage.
No, and that's why I think that would make the most sense.
Just drop it right there in the parking lot.
Now, that's going to be a 3 or 4 year window, whatever it is, for parking in terms of, but you can play right there, figure out the parking stuff, and then open up your new place, if that's the way it would go. I mean, I didn't necessarily think something like this would happen, but when you're thinking about the financial part of it in terms of what cost is and how those things have gone up, why in the world wouldn't you take the next step? I mean, $600 million ain't a drop in the bucket, but you made the point, Mickey, when we were talking before we went on the air here. How many places are building open air stadiums in terms of NFL?
You're not anymore.
That Nashville SC Stadium, by the way, that's going to be sweet.
It is.
That thing, I went by that the other day. It's really nice.
But as far as football stadiums,
Yeah. I mean,
it's not a thing
You
anymore.
need a multi-purpose, that's why all of these places, these condos and things we see going up everywhere, in the bottom floor, there's a grocery store, there's 3 or 4 restaurants. I mean, it's mixed-use space, and that's what you're going to need. Because, hey, and that's the other part of it is being able to use that building for all these kinds of things. More tax dollars, more, just keep feeding it.
My goodness. Well, this is huge news, man. If you're a sports fan, even if you're like, I just moved here from Boston, I don't care about the Titans, you're about to get everything, though, if this happens.
Right.
Everything is getting dropped on your doorstep.
For anybody listening to The Zone right now, and you're like, I've only been here 2 or 3 years. Guess what? Getting ready to get real interesting. Real interesting, because you build a dome stadium.
And I would think it's come true.
And I would think with a retractable roof, because think about this.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got a lot of great weather days in October and November for Titans games.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it's a 98-degree game in September. Roof closed.
Oh, my gosh.
It's sunny and 70 in here, boys.
Maybe
Let's
Blaine
go.
and Dyson and me could even do the pregame show indoors on those days. It'd
And
be
not have to
magical on
worry
hot
about
and cold
inclement weather. Yes.
Can't wait.
From the new Palatial Pro Shop.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
But,
Lynn will be excited
Miss
about
Lynn
that.
Crumley, yes. she turning cartwheels over there right now.
Well, there you go. It's not a done deal, but it is out there. Nate Rowell with the story.